There was a girl named Sarah who had just moved into an old apartment building. It was her first time living alone, and although the place was a little dusty and creaky, she loved the independence. The first few nights were quiet, almost peaceful. But one night, around midnight, she was scrolling through her phone when she heard a soft, almost hesitant knock on her door. At first, she thought it was one of the neighbors. Maybe they had accidentally knocked on the wrong door. She ignored it and continued scrolling, trying to convince herself it was nothing. But a few minutes later, there was another knock. Louder this time, deliberate. Her stomach sank, and she cautiously tiptoed to the peephole. The hallway was empty, dimly lit, silent except for the faint hum of the building's old heater. Sarah laughed nervously, telling herself it was probably just the wind or some loose part of the building settling. She went back to her bed and tried to focus on her phone, but then she heard it again. A third knock, slow, deliberate, almost as if whoever was outside wanted to make sure she heard it. Her pulse was racing now. She whispered, "Hello?" into the darkness. Silence. Then, just as she was about to tell herself to calm down, she heard it. A low, almost breathless whisper through the keyhole. "I'm inside." Her blood ran cold. She backed away from the door, heart hammering in her chest. Her phone buzzed. Another notification. But this wasn't normal. A message appeared on her screen she didn't receive from anyone. "Look behind you." Her hands trembled as she slowly turned around. The apartment was still quiet. The shadows of the room stretched across the walls, twisted and strange under the dim light of her bedside lamp. Everything seemed normal, but then she noticed it. A message scratched into the thin layer of dust on the floor near the window. In large, uneven letters, it read, "Not for long." Sarah froze. Her mind raced with questions. Who could have done this? How did they get in? She didn't see anyone, but the message was there. The thought of staying in the apartment alone that night became unbearable. She packed her bag in a panic and ran down the stairwell, not looking back. The next morning, when she returned with the landlord, the apartment looked completely normal. No sign of anyone having entered, no scratches, no footprints, nothing. But Sarah never stayed there alone again, and every time she thought about that night, she could still hear that whisper in her mind. "I'm inside." Even now, years later, she refuses to live alone. She says the feeling never goes away, the sensation that someone is always watching, just out of sight, waiting for the right moment.